show the world like, hey, powerlifting and business are not so far off from each other. There are similarities. Like, you have to have a certain mindset, you have to be resilient, you have to, be disciplined in your arenas.
All right, welcome to episode 8 of Unleashing Power. I'm joined today by Destini. Can you just give us a quick rundown of yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Destini. I consider myself a baby powerlifter, but I've been doing this for about 2 to 3 years, and I reside in North Carolina. And other than powerlifting, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a nonprofit called the Power Friend Circle, which Sarah told me we would, go over a little bit, but I'm just super happy to be here and thankful that Sarah invited me to be on her pod.
Yeah, happy to have you here. All right, some quick icebreakers. Rank the lifts. Squat, bench, deadlift.
This is so easy. It's so unfair. Bench is definitely my number 3. Deads are number 2, and then my favorite lift is squat. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I could have guessed that, probably.
Yeah, I just have some unresolved issues with bench, but it's okay.
It's okay. We all have that problem child, that one that's the bane of our powerlifting existence.
Yeah. To say the least.
What's your biggest gym pet peeve?
Biggest gym pet peeve is when I ask a male to take my weights off the barbell and put them away from me and they don't do it.
Does that happen a lot?
Not anymore. I just don't ask. I just go ahead and take them off myself. And if they see me and want to help me, then they will. If they don't, it's okay. I got it.
Fair. Fair. Summer or winter?
Ooh, I'd say summer.
Okay. Even in that North Carolina heat?
Honestly, I like the heat.
Okay.
Which is super weird because Tariq, who's my boyfriend, is like the opposite. He loves the cold. And I don't know. There's just something about like sitting in heat and just feeling it. I don't know. I just like the
different
heat.
Breed.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, jumping in, can you kind of walk me through your history with any involvement in sports or the gym growing up, and then how that kind of adapted through the years, and then how you landed into being a powerlifter?
Okay. I'm going to try and make it as brief as possible, even though, I started at a really young age going to the YMCA. My dad always took me and my brother to the YMCA, so we started pretty much our fitness journeys there in the kids section. Growing up, okay. I played multiple sports. I played tennis, basketball. I played volleyball for a little bit, and I ran track for a season, but only because someone really kind of challenged me and told me I couldn't do both track and tennis at the same time. So I was like, yes, I could. And then so I had to prove them wrong, So I did those sports.
Of course.
I did those sports growing up. Throughout high school, when I got to college, I was fairly small. I was probably about 120 pounds, very slim. And so I was very self-conscious about how slim I was because, I kind of have a round face too. And so a round face with a small body just was not it for me. So me and my friend Mary, we started going to the gym. And back then, early for me was like 6-7 o'clock in the morning before my 8:30 class. So that was the time we would go back then. And then just over time, it kind of just evolved into like 4:30 a.m. But we would go to the gym just to kind of socialize, be nosy. We could see everybody and what was going on from the weight room at college. So we would just go there just to kind of like look cute and, just whatever. We weren't really lifting weights. We were doing cardio, which was the opposite of what I really wanted to happen. But,
Yep.
That's what we were doing because we didn't really know what we were supposed to do in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my junior or senior year in college, I took a weightlifting class, and the fitness instructor at the time, she told the class that pretty much she expected like all the women to do like the tone and sculpt, and she rarely had women who were like gonna do heavy weights. And I was like, well, I'm up for the challenge, I'll do it. So I was like the only female actually doing hypertrophy work. And so I actually had a male, like, because we were partners, like we had partners and buddies to keep each other accountable. And in the gym, I
Mm-hmm.
actually had a male, like a male gym partner for that class. So that was an interesting experience. But Fawaz was, he was cool. And so from there, it gets a little fuzzy after college a little bit, but I joined the military, and so that kind of just hyper focused the early mornings, because in basic training we always did PT early in the morning. And as soon
Yeah.
as I got back from basic training, um I pretty much started doing like coaching myself, because I was doing boot camps with Trev Coleman out in Omaha. So shout out to Trev and Top Flight Fitness out in Omaha, Nebraska. If anybody's out there watching, please hit him up, visit him. He is great. And the classes are always, lots of energy. So shout out to Trev. But I will say I just continued with it. And then one day after moving from Omaha, pretty much just to kind of start new, have a reset, I came out to Fayetteville. And I know Fayetteville out of all places from Omaha, yes. A lot of people ask me that, but yes, I moved from Omaha to Fayetteville in 2021. 2022, I was just randomly in a fitness connection. I had made
Mm-hmm.
some buddies there, and so we were doing some squats, and I was squatting, I don't even know, without like any type of gear, but it was like 225, and I was doing it for reps. And you know out of nowhere, Tariq just pops his head in, and he's like, hey, you should put more weight on there, or try more weight. And then he was like, have you ever thought about powerlifting? And I was like, nah, I just do this for fun. And I'll think about it, and I'll get back with you. 6 months later, I'm like, all right, coach, like when are we going to do this? And then just from there on, I've been powerlifting. I've been doing it consistently for like 2.5 years now. It's pretty amazing.
That is cool.
So I'm sorry
So,
that was so long, but
oh no, not at all. No, you're good. So, from the boot camp style training that you were doing in Nebraska, what kind of gym did you join when you moved? Was it like a commercial gym or was it a powerlifting gym?
yeah, so it was completely different, because when I was in Omaha, of course, I was like in a small, a box gym. And then I moved out here, and I actually joined Fitness Connection, because it was like the only thing that was open at the time that I needed it to be open.
Okay.
But it was also big enough and close enough to in proximity to where I was working at the time. And so I could just go to Fitness Connection, take a shower, go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was Fitness Connection. And I actually still go to Fitness Connection
Okay.
on Mondays, but just because we have Fitness Connection family that we can't get rid of,
Yeah.
you
No,
know.
I feel that. I still
hmm
um travel like an hour or so to gyms that,
Oh, wow.
you form connections with people and just
hmm
seeing them online isn't enough sometimes. You need that in
Yeah.
person. So
Yeah,
that's
totally
good.
agree. So
Yeah, that's
every
cool.
Monday, just for the sole purpose of like seeing Miss Cookie and the gang, we go to Fitness Connection.
I love that. So I know you work a corporate, like full-time job. How do
So
you, oh,
I actually just left that job. Uh-huh.
okay.
Yep. So, yep. I left that job a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Um, I don't want to say too much about it. Like, honestly, it was a very interesting experience, I would say, but I truly loved the work I was doing, and I loved the people I was working with. It was just time to go.
Hmm.
Something in my heart spoke out to me and said, like, hey, it's time to elevate, and you can't do that doing what you're, currently doing now. It almost felt like a tug in a different
Hmm.
direction. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
That's
had to
good
get.
though. I mean,
hmm
to have that like sixth sense or that like inner voice that speaks to you, you have to listen to it.
Yeah,
At a certain point,
absolutely.
you can't push that voice down for too long.
That's correct. Or like one way or the other, they will get you out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's good. So, I was going to ask you about how you kind of navigate balancing a full-time career versus training. Can you
Okay.
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can definitely do that because right now I'm actually sticking to the same schedule that I was on while I was working corporate, except now I'm doing more of what I want to do.
Mhm.
Uh, kind of, but still looking for work outside. There's still a lot of balance that goes along with that.
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of the time it's prioritizing and time management are the two biggest things that I find that I have to utilize the most. For me, powerlifting at this point is a given. I'm going to the gym on
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's a given.
Yeah.
So I have to work around that. And if I don't have time, which I didn't have time that evening because I was so tired after work that there was just no point in me even trying to hit compound lifts. So I had to make time in the morning. But it was an easy transition for me because, like I said, I was, doing the military PT time, and I had just stuck with that habit since
Mm.
college. So it wasn't too bad of a transition for me. But really finding time, making time to do everything that you need to do, but also setting, in the beginning of your day, knowing what you need to get done so
Yeah.
that way you can work around those items as well.
Yeah. It is nice having a training schedule already carved in because
Mm,
that's at least one thing that you know will be routine and keeps
right.
you uh kind of keeps you to that schedule. So,
Agreed.
that's
And then
good.
also it's just nice having a coach in general. Um, I've tried to be my own coach before. Does not work. Just simply because I I already have enough that I need to do in the day. I don't like to add additional tasks, but because I have a coach, he is an expert in what he's doing, and so I can have faith that, the things I need to improve on, he knows, and he's going to put that into the program and, you know, make it to where I reach the goals that I need. So definitely having that trusting coach.
Definitely. Yeah.
Hmm.
It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it too,
Absolutely.
because if you're trying to worry about training
Hmm.
as well as your program,
Competing or, all that
yeah,
other stuff, it's like,
yeah, absolutely. Does he push you if you're hesitant to compete or whatever? Does he push you like, let's sign up for a meet, let's put another one on the
ah.
books, or not so much?
He was actually kind of the opposite. So,
Really?
he's like, "Oh, you shouldn't do too many in a year." And at first, like, I had an issue with that because I'm like, I'm excited. I want to compete. I did good my first comp. I want to do another one. Like, it was
Uh
so much fun meeting everybody. This. But like looking back on it, it's like, okay, I can see why he doesn't want us to compete as often because we do need that time, like that time to build,
huh.
but also just being on the platform and like going through that extensive training process like right beforehand, it's very taxing on the body, and so your body needs
Yeah,
that recovery period and then that
absolutely.
period to get better.
Yeah.
So but yes, he was opposite. Now he's more like relaxed, and he's like, okay, he's more willing to listen, like, okay, we can do this now.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. It is a balance too, because I feel like, yes, you don't want to compete 4 or 5 times in a year. Obviously, it's very hard on
Right.
your body, even mental fatigue, all that goes into it. But then, I also feel like on the flip side, it's a skill in and of itself to compete
Hmm.
because I see a lot of people who will go a while without competing and then they step back on the platform and it's like your
What's
first
going
meet.
on? Oh my
Yeah, it's like
gosh.
your first meet all
Yeah.
over again. You get kind of
Those
that stage
jitters.
fright
Oh
or,
yeah. And
yeah.
you know what? Like, I competed in April, and that was the first time I competed like since the January before. So it was well over a year, and I definitely had that nervousness. But I also just don't know if the nervousness ever goes away, like before hitting that platform.
True.
So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's circumstantial. Everybody is unique in their
Right.
own way.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's almost that good jitters too.
Hmm.
Cuz if you're not getting that, then are you dead inside, you know?
Right.
Like,
Like, do you even get adrenaline? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And it's
Uh,
exciting. Like, this is what we're training for at the end of the day too, you know? Like, it is fun getting stronger and stuff, but it's kind of cool to be able to showcase everything that you've been working so hard for multiple times a week, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is a goal that you'd like to achieve in the next year? It could be like powerlifting specific or personal, whatever.
I've been chasing after 405 for like, I feel like the longest amount of time. So I would really, I'm going to be kind of upset if I hit a 405 squat before I pull 405. I think it's there, and I think it's probably not an ambitious enough goal yet, but,
Yeah.
or right now at this point. But, I'm waiting for it to happen. And,
You'll pull it in like December, January.
singles block is next, so we're gonna hope I'm not in shambles before I have to hit that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Facts. Are you one of those people that gets nervous to out squat your deadlift?
No, just because I love squats, but
Yeah.
I definitely had my coach sweating. He told me he thought my squats were out lifting my deads, and I'm like, no.
I don't get the stigma. What's wrong with squat specialists, you know? We need love too.
I know. There's too few of us.
Exactly. We have to stick together. Who
Yeah.
cares if we out squat our deadlift, you know? As
Yeah,
long as we're getting
right.
the total up in one way or another.
Right. And then you know what? I just always attribute it to like squat day being before deadlift day. And so
Mm,
by the time we get to deadlift day, I'm like, okay, this week needs to end, and I
yeah.
need my, weekend to start.
Uh-huh. I need that rest and recovery.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, and deadlifts are so taxing on the body too. Like
Oh yeah.
squats obviously are too, but
Hmm.
okay, so you've competed twice. What kind of gets you through a prep? If you're having I don't know, any self-doubt or any physical fatigue, like what is something that you kind of hold fast to while you're getting through a prep?
Honestly, I like prep. I don't know what it is. I like to be at my most fatigued. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. That might be odd. I
No,
just,
I get that.
because at the end of the day, it's like I can go home and sleep well because I know I
Mhm.
put in that work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but what usually gets me through prep is just knowing that I can eat really good. I can eat really good the day before or whatever
Yeah. Do you
competition.
usually do you usually have to cut weight to make your weight class?
I usually cut weight because I'm usually around my max, like
Mhm.
148,
Okay.
150. So I'll cut a couple of pounds. I try not to go too low to where it's affecting my, strength. I'll probably cut
Yeah.
back to like 143, 144 at the most. But yeah, generally it's a cut. It's not ever a gain.
Yeah. Yeah. For most people, I would say. I'm
Yeah.
happy I'm in the super heavyweight category, so I'm like not capped.
You don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. I guess for dots, but I don't
Yeah.
really worry about dots that much.
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta go out there and perform. Yeah, hit your
Exactly.
numbers. Yeah, have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I'm just trying to, PR the total, whatever.
Right. Right.
Yeah. That's all we can hope for.
All we can hope for is a good meet, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
take it for what it is. Hmm.
Yeah. Would you prefer to have like stacked competition in your meets, or would you rather just go out there and worry about your own numbers?
Personally, for me, I'm competitive, but I'm not like oh my God, I have to beat this person competitive. For me
Yeah.
personally, it's about going out there and doing what I came to do, like what I prepared for
Yeah.
myself. So from my perspective, I'd love having a stacked comp just because I want to see other females do their thing too. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't, it's not like, oh, I have pressure and I need to come in first or second or whatever. I don't need all of that. I need to go out there and do what, I expect to do, what coach is expecting me to do, hitting my numbers and, just staying safe and having fun on the platform. And part of
Yeah.
that fun is, watching people compete. So, yeah,
Yeah.
either way, so I guess both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is fun seeing other people like hit the numbers that they want to hit as well.
Mhm.
That is part of
Yeah.
the thrill of competing.
I think that's like one of the best parts for me is like watching people, do things that they might not have thought that they could have done, but they do it. And it's just
Yeah.
awesome to watch
Absolutely.
in real time.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Do you and Tariq watch meets at all? Like from home? Like do you
Yeah, we'll
watch?
watch them. We'll watch them. We have a lot of good people around us that compete regularly, so we
Mhm.
love to watch them and support them and watch them do their thing and go crazy on the platform. So yes, we will do it occasionally. Sometimes I get offended though because he'll like watch the meets without me and then I'll come home and I'll be like, let's watch this meet, and then he's like, oh, I already watched it, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
I
you
know
didn't
it's
think I
like
wanted to watch it too?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the equivalent of watching an episode without you.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You
Yeah.
couldn't wait a couple of hours, but it's okay.
Have you had any challenges having your coach also be your boyfriend or like how do you guys kind of manage that?
Oh man, like it's one of those things where you just gotta kind of take it as it comes. Some days in the beginning it was difficult because you have to establish boundaries, and sometimes he can't turn that hat off,
Mm,
the hat of being a coach off just because, he loves it, like he's so passionate about it,
yeah.
that as well. But I'm just like, I love this sport too, but relax. I don't want to hear about how bad my bench was today, or, you know,
Yeah.
or that I didn't quite hit depth, but, you know, it works out in the long run because I'm just happy that he's doing something he's passionate about and that I get the chance to be part of that big picture with him.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of, compromise, give and take, and, working through things, but it's like I wouldn't say it's like every relationship, but it's just one of those things where you got to take it as it comes and,
Yeah.
get past that hump sometimes.
Yeah. Get good at compartmentalizing
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know. I feel like it kind of helps to have that different form of communication too because
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but you kind of get to learn them as a coach, but you
Mhm.
also know them on a more personal level too. So
Mhm.
it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of nice seeing that
Mhm.
that other side sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, especially somebody as passionate about coaching, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that in itself can be difficult when someone is like that passionate and you're like, I just want to hit my lifts and go home. But he's like,
Yeah.
you got to do your accessories or, whatever. Don't skip your accessories or, and then
Yeah.
like having to come home if you didn't do what you were supposed to do. He will hold you accountable. That's the thing.
So, pivoting a little bit, I wanted to get to talk to you about your business and your Power Friends circle. So, can you tell me how that kind of came about and what you've been able to establish there?
Yeah. So when I was working my corporate job, my boss didn't really quite understand why I was lifting to begin with. There's this misconception that like as a female lifter, you're gonna somehow turn manly. And I'm sitting here like that's so ridiculous and
Yeah.
kind of none of your business, but also like the work environment was very stressful, and I wasn't quite happy with what I was doing there. I felt like I was meant for more, and I still feel that way. I'm definitely heading towards more and being more abundant in life. So I started the Power Friend Circle because I've pretty much felt powerless in the situation I was when I was at work. I didn't really have control over what I was doing, when I was doing it. And
Hmm.
then sometimes I just felt like, I was just kind of going through the motions. So the Power Friend Circle was kind of conceived because of that feeling of powerlessness, that feeling of imposter syndrome, but also like mental burnout. So I really wanted to create a safe space for, powerlifters and business professionals too, to learn more about powerlifting, intertwine those worlds, and show the world like, hey, powerlifting and business are not so far off from each other. There are similarities. Like you have to have a certain mindset, you have to be resilient, you have to, be disciplined in your arenas.
Hmm.
So, being part of both of those worlds, it was so interesting at first because it was like, oh, I can only do one or the other. And I'm like, oh, but why? Why does it have to be this or that?
Yeah.
Because that's what it felt like. At times,
Hmm.
I felt like I had to choose one. But in all actuality, I'm like, why not both? So I combined
Yeah.
those two, arenas to make the Power Friend Circle. And really what it started out was I didn't really know where I was going to take it. I just knew I had an idea, but
Yeah.
as time passes and you refine things in your business plan and everything, Power Friend Circle is more so going towards awareness and like shaping mindset, but also giving people a platform to be more powerful, whether that is in the gym, in the boardroom, or as an entrepreneur. It's opening up the door for people to be more powerful in their own respective rights.
I like that.
Yeah. It's super complex, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And
I'm
very
sure.
multifaceted.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think it's something that a lot of people can gravitate towards, like feelings of powerlessness or being burnt out or not feeling like they're good enough or, whatever the case.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of people looking at powerlifters from the outside, I hear a lot of people say all the time, you're so strong, you're so
Hmm.
confident, all that kind of stuff. But then you get into powerlifting and you realize, like, we have the same doubts and fears and insecurities as anybody else does.
Yeah, and then everything just goes away, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
We definitely
exactly.
all face our own, struggles and adversities, but collectively, like we come together to do this thing that we love,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So establishing a community around that was important for me, probably one of the most important things.
yeah. That's awesome. And when did you found this?
It's been over a year, I think. So I came up with the name in May of 2023.
I love the name, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it's really powerful. I really like it.
Yeah. And the name is funny too because it's just like power. It's just like all these three things that's just like it makes up like what powerlifting is to me, like powerful, like being powerful, but having friendships and then coming together as a circle, like as one.
Hmm.
It's like almost like a superhero, but we're like saving the day by, amplifying people's power and like bringing awareness to those things. So it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. And I'm always, I guess, not surprised, But something that's been really interesting to me, the type of people that powerlifting has an allure for, I think it's interesting how similar we all are. Like you can look at people at face value and say, these people come from completely different backgrounds, cultures, areas, countries, but it seems like we all have a few distinct personality traits as well that kind of just make us so strong as a community. I just think it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's like a melting pot.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. But you find that commonality with people and it's like, in the quote unquote real world, you may never interact with these people. Is there any direction that you want to take your business, or is there anything that you're hoping to get out of that?
So it's a nonprofit business, but I just want to watch it grow, and I'm really big on when I meet people, I'm always like when I'm learning about them and what they like and what they don't like. I'm always looking at the bigger picture and seeing how that person may fit. So, as far as Power Friend Circle, I would really love this to be just a conglomerate of all my friends, and we're just in leadership doing our own things, but we're doing things and initiatives that we love personally,
Yeah.
but also just under the umbrella of a mission,
Hmm.
like a general mission of spreading awareness between powerlifting and business. But I really hope for membership, to skyrocket. I want people to be a part of the community, and to love it as much as I do. Some of them might not know that they're part of the bigger picture right now, but they don't really have a choice with me.
Yeah. That's a good entrepreneur right there.
Yeah.
Always working behind the scenes.
Oh, I love behind the scenes. I actually love behind the scenes more than I love being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think behind the scenes is where a lot of the necessary work gets done. So I
Hmm.
always salute all the people who are like off screen too.
Yeah. I always laugh when people just throw out, oh, I want to start my own business. I want to be my own boss.
Right.
And I'm always like, good for you. But
Uh-huh.
like all that's entailed in that? This is a lot of work.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm even like, what did I do? But now that I started, I have to keep going.
Yeah, yeah. Once
So,
you get a taste of that too, like you're achieving what you set out to achieve and you can't just back away from that. Like you said before, that inner voice, gotta
mhm.
listen. Okay. Final question for you. When you were getting into powerlifting and kind of discovering other powerlifters and getting more into the sport, who's one person that you followed on social media or you found on social media and you thought this person's an inspiration, or I have to follow this person?
Well, I had to follow this person anyway because she's my aunt. No, I'm just kidding. She's not really my aunt, but Rachel Brooks. And she recently got married to my uncle Ian. So,
Oh, okay.
yes, but she's definitely an inspiration. I definitely look up to her. She works hard. And, all this, the little bit of time that she's been away from powerlifting, since being married and, just living her best life, like she truly deserves it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, she's definitely an inspiration inside and outside of the gym.
Yeah. That's the best when you look up to somebody and then they actually have a great personality as well.
It's such a great way to meet people too.
It is.
Like I have greatly appreciated sitting here and having a conversation with you.
Yeah, I appreciate having you here. And I feel the same way. When you're able to make that connection, it means a lot more.
Yeah.
All right, Destiny. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate and I've enjoyed talking to you. So I'm excited to see what comes in the future.
Yay. Yeah, me too. And hopefully we find some other ways to work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye.